while since I've done the lives on the YouTubes. Let's see if I can get it to, let's see if I can find it on my channel. Look at that. Ooh, ooh, there it is. Hey, look at that. Oh, and we don't have, none of the comments will be hiding on top of it, right? Got it. Oops, we can go, hello? So that's where the comments will be. Okay, okay. Hello! At least somebody's here. I don't know how these things go, you know, in terms of the YouTubes. I'm so much more competent in the Facebooks. Hello, hello. Aw, you guys are talking too. That's so sweet. Because it's different, right? This is different than the Facebooks. I suppose that I could set up a time and a day that I live stream on the YouTube. It is where I started my social media adventures. I was a YouTuber before anybody, or before other things. Yay! So like I already do Monday nights. I'm not usually on right now. I usually do Monday nights, Sunday nights, and Saturday nights or Saturday mornings on Facebook. I could try like maybe a Thursday? Would Thursdays be good? Yay! Well, like, how many people? I guess one of the things is like you guys are subscribed to me. Is that why you got the notification? Like, so I don't know how this stuff works on the YouTubes. I mean, I think I recognize some of you from the Facebooks. Ah, you have no idea. Who here is not actually doing, like, who doesn't do clay? Who's here as a random person? Alright, so we got that one. We'll do a different one. We'll do like the barely ones. Barely. Ann's not on Facebook. That's okay, Ann. I understand. It's just, it ends up where I do a lot of my stuff. Especially for the beginner things. Dirty potters are good potters. This is a pound and a half. These are big mugs. This clay is my reclaimed clay, which is a bunch of different clays. Raccoon clay, porcelain, B-mix wood, B-mix 10, 850, and 900. All kind of blended together to make this crappy clay. No, it's not crappy. This is really good clay. And like I said, like you can tell, I can see the comments really easily. So if you have questions and such, super easy for you to just pop them on there, because I can respond right away. That's why I do the live streams. Partly so I don't talk to myself the whole time I'm in the studio, but partly so I can have discussions. I can talk about stuff. All of these do, yes. So these are all cone 10 plus clays. I would say that, like the raku clay is probably a little hotter and the porcelain is a little cooler. But when you blend multiple clays together, they all become a new clay body. And I blend them in the same proportions that have been for a while. And when I make a whole new batch, I go through and I test it all over again and make sure that things are vitrified and stuff. If you mix clays that are not the same together, then you get all sorts of wackadoodleness. And when typically we want like 50 to 60% less wackadoodleness. Okay, so vitrified means that the clay body itself is able to hold water. So let's say we make a pot and we make it out of a clay that isn't vitrified, and when we fire it and we use it, right, after we fire it and we use it, no matter what kind of glaze is on it or anything, that water will seep through it and then out. And the more vitrified something is, the less water can do that. In the worst case scenario, it just leaks out, just like pours right out. In the best case, I guess in the less worst case, the water gets absorbed and then it doesn't come back out. And when we talk about water, that's again, best case scenario. Typically, it's not water. It's things like coffee or milk or tuna juice when you're making tuna fish, and then it gets in the clay and then it rots. And then the next time you heat it up, it kind of pushes it out and you end up having it in your next meal. And I just don't want that. I don't want a mug that's going to leak, and I don't want tuna in my ice cream. So vitrification, if you can imagine all little pieces of clay as like little balls, and they're kind of packed in there, and there's lots of spaces for stuff to go in. As the clay melts, those little balls end up getting mushy. And when they get mushy, they stick together and form better seals in between themselves. Hi Timothy. Yeah, it's a long time on the YouTubes, and I've never really gone away. I just don't always have stuff to post. I'm not a serial poster, or at least I haven't been. The things that I do post, I end up doing it educationally. I'm not a blogger or a vlogger kind of thing. So it's mostly educational. And if I've taught all the things that I want to teach, then I don't just remake the video again and again. Someone threw a pot and ended up with a circular crack in the bottom. So that crack, I don't really like to call it a crack. It was a failure. Let's call it a failure. And that failure came about because the clay just got overworked. And the typical response would be that it was too wet, that they used too much water. And from how I've talked here, Antoinette, that I'm not shy of water, and I'm not shy of beginners using a lot of water. What needs to happen though is it needs to go quick. And their response was that they had worked on that piece for 15 minutes or more. And at that time, it's just a lot of time for that clay to get overworked, which does include absorbing water, but it's really a combination of a lot of things. And that amount of time ends up kind of making the clay so weak that it can't hold itself up, and it just got to that cantilever point and kind of boop, sagged out and failed. Yeah, that's great, Tim. Are you still getting to do clay? 10 years is a long time. Some people start, and then life drags their interests away to other things like tiny boats or hiking or something. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, fatigue. It's almost like like you can break a paper clip by just bending it back and forth a bunch. It's kind of like that. It's not that you're wetting the paper clip or getting it mushy or anything. It's just yeah, fatigue. I think is the perfect answer. Bye bye. Yeah, it brought a lot of people back to clay, or started people in clay. Unfortunately, I haven't really watched it. I watched the first few episodes when it was on YouTube. In the beginning, and then YouTube pulled it off because the stuff that was on was pirated. And once I found out that it was pirated, I kind of didn't want to participate. I know what it's like to have my videos pirated, and I know they're a big corporation and everything producing the videos, but I just couldn't watch them. And then it got to HBO, and I also don't have HBO, so I haven't really got a chance to watch. Jenny, they were the crack that the person that we're talking about there was when it was really wet still. If for some reason you had it when it was really wet, that would be the issue. If it was while it was drying, or all sorts of reasons, things are going to crack when they're drying. Oh, well, thanks, Tim. Yeah. So Thursdays. Maybe we do Thursdays after lunch? That's a different time frame than the other ones. And the people that are off in Britain land end up catching it at a better time. Thursdays after lunch. Yeah, and I'll just keep working on these mugs. And we'll do these mugs until they're done. On Thursdays after lunch. Is that catchy? Does it need its own intro, its own theme song? Thursdays after lunch. No, I don't know. I'm not good at theme songs. In my theme song, it's Thursdays after lunch. Boop. Oh, it's Tuesday morning. Oh, so like lunch for you, or lunch for me would be like sleepy times for you. Bye-bye. I want that nice and straight, but I think I made it just a little bit too thin to make it nice and straight. My hand's gonna miss all the porcelain throwing. Oh no. No washing my hands, no cleaning off the tools, not even cleaning off the wheel. Life is tiring in the future. Oh man, I only never clean anything just to make the porcelain purists lose their lose their stuff. I remember the first time I really did it live, because I do that all the time. I just throw different clays. It doesn't matter to me. And one of the porcelain people had a fit, and I'm like, whoa, turn it down a little bit. You know, they're like, oh, everything has to be cleaned off and perfect before you can't mix clays. You know, you pretty much have to have two different studios if you're going to use porcelain. This one, that was a mistake from earlier. I was live streaming other places. Well, as you go, you figure out where you're making more messes. So my biggest mess is actually from me using my wooden knife and going back and cutting it off like this. I transfer clay here, and that's what gets on my pants. But as you start, you're going to end up making all sorts of messes because you don't really know what you're doing yet. A lot more slapping too. Oh well, when I throw the next one, watch what I do. I'm usually pulling the slip off my hands and applying it back on the pot. And I suppose that makes my hands look clean. I also end up scraping the front of them off when I go to pick up the pots. I'm not sure if that is also contributing to it. Oops, scrapey, scrapey. I'll try to point out when I do a thing that's like kind of keeping my hands clean. That is not good. That's not good. We're gonna spank the crack and make it go away. Well, I'm not particularly interested in doing that, but if that was something that you really wanted to do, you can set up things like this. You can take like a El Chunko of clay and a little markery thing. And you can throw the first one and then set that up and then throw so that you hit that point. You can also do it with like little lasers. If you've got all sorts of lasers around, like for kitty cats and stuff, you can have one laser that points across the top, so you hit that point, and one that points down, so you know how wide to go. But I don't care about that. I throw all different sizes. Like I said, I just throw 4 different styles of mugs. They're all different sizes. They're all the same weight of clay, but they're different sizes. No. I don't know if I have particular genetics that make me less prone to dry hands and stuff, but I really only had one winter where I was starting to get, cracks and things, and I used a barrier cream before I threw, and then all went away. Some seasons I've had that part there that ends up getting the dry clay on it from that part of the wheel get irritated, but not to the point where I was really uncomfortable or anything. And I don't throw that much anymore. I think there are people that throw a heck of a lot more than me. I think I figured it out last year. Like, actual time on the wheel was less than 40 hours. And that was for like all year long, and not counting the teaching part, but just throwing for my work. I threw less than 40 hours. I spent a lot more time chopping and splitting wood than I did actually throwing. Actually, it was more like 65 hours, but that's close. 40 sounds good, like a work week. What are we doing to this one? Well, this one we'll do the floppy toppy. This can't get all the way down to the bottom of the rib. I want to go all the way. Yay! Chocolate drop. If you're on the Facebooks, and I'm not sure if any of the people are still here that are from the Facebook group. I have a Facebook group that's just for beginners, and it's, I don't know, beginner wheel throwing with Tim C. It's just for beginners, and I do live streams there every Monday night. And we started in January here for this year's session. And we'll end up going through everything, all the way from throwing, trimming, putting handles on stuff, finishing them up, bisquing, glazing. Yeah, I don't know if we can post links here or not, but if anybody could get a link to that, that would be awesome. No, we're not teaching yet, and I won't be back to teaching until I have a vaccine and everybody in the class has a vaccine. The link to my description, like in my thing here, is to my sales page, and that's not the same thing. I guess I could change that. You just want to make sure that when you do ask to join the group, that you answer all the questions, because there are lots of bots trying to get into groups right now, and if all the questions aren't answered, I just don't let people in. Oh, I can do that, yeah. But it's live right now. It's funny here too that, I know people on Facebook by their names. I don't know you guys by your YouTube handles. Yeah, I get that. I have some plants that I wanted them to have special homes. Hi, Denise. Yeah, I'm me everywhere too.
What's your favorite house plant? If you have a favorite house plant. Not everybody has a favorite house plant, I guess. Angel wing begonia. That sounds fancy. Hi, Canada. My kitty doesn't really eat the plants. I have my two favorite plants were like my saddest plants. when we were kind of building up the gardens around our house, there was a point at which I learned about something at Lowe's called the manager's cart. And the manager's cart was the gardening manager. He would go through and pick out the plants he didn't like, either because they were just dried up, somebody stepped on it, some just horrible things happened to these plants, or they just weren't selling and they needed to move them out so that they could put other plants in that they thought would sell. So these manager carts were like $10 for a whole cart, like maybe 100 plants. And if they had flats of things, it was more than 100 plants. And there were a couple plants that were outside, but they were like house plants. They were indoor plants. I don't even know what they are. But one was so sad. It was like one leaf and this big old horribly shrunken stem. And I brought it back to life. And he's one of my favorites. And the other one is a cactus from a hardware store, and they had glued like a flower to the top of it, to make it look like it was a flowering cactus. And it went for like 2 years, and the flower never changed. And I eventually went over to the cactus and said, I don't think this is a real flower. And I peeled it off. It was hot glued to the top of the cactus. I felt so bad for the cactus. And as it's grown, it's got like a bald spot, where I had taken the hot glue flower off of it. Oh, that's so sad. Poor guy. He's my other favorite one. And I'm really worried about the cactus because I live in upstate New York. Hello. Hello. Oh, you got plant care videos. See, that's good. I'm going to make another one of the floppy top ones. It's one of the first places I go for information is YouTube. Need to replace a ridge vent on my house? To the YouTubes. Angel-haired ferns. $75 house. That's a lot of house plants. I think I could do a quick count. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We've got like 20. We got 20 plants. YouTube University. I got two more. I got two more that I didn't count. My Phalaenopsis and another orchid. And we were getting really excited. One was just about to flower, and it got to the buds. The buds were just about to open, and they all fell off. It's like, oh, it's so close. And we think it was just when the weather changed, and we didn't turn the heat on until like the very last possible day. Where we worry about freezing pipes and stuff. So it was probably too cold for it, and it dropped its blossoms. That's my guess, but I don't know nothing about no plants. Okay, I got one more. I got one more mug to do. Then I gotta go make dinner. Oh, what the heck? You can pay me? What? Don't pay me? Well, I mean, I guess it's nice, but I didn't even know that was a thing. That's so sweet. Aww. Oh, I do these for free. Like, I mean, that's really nice. But now I feel guilty. I got demo guilt. Well, that is funny that you found me through Jessica Putnam, because I she doesn't really like me. No, I don't want to step up my game. I do this. It's funny that she was mentioned just now. I do this for free because I really like teaching, and I like showing the process, and like getting other people to join and be able to learn this kind of stuff without having to pay money. But I guess, you know, if somebody wants to, like, that's pretty cool. Nah, you guys are horrible. Yeah, I guess without, because I don't try to make money on it, you know, and that's, I don't know if it's dumb on my part. It's not business savvy, that's for sure. I fired a cone 10. Well, sorry, I take that back. Most of the clays are cone 10, but I fire in the wood kiln, and wood kiln and cones don't mix well. So I end up firing to like 12, 13, but I think in reality it's more of like a 10, 11 based on glazes and stuff. Well, thank you. Is it Renmarie? I don't know your full name. I don't even know where the money goes. But I appreciate it. I mean, that's really nice. She was just a plant, guys. Just so you know, that's somebody that I paid $20 to put in that $4.99 in hopes that other people would do it. I'm kidding, though. Wouldn't that be funny? No, that's okay. We're gonna slow down a little bit. We're gonna take a little pause because this is the last one, and we're getting into stuff here. Let's not talk about whether or not something is gooder or better, because we all have variation. You know, there's Dante, and there's the Hobby Potter. We all have our YouTube channels, and we have our own pacing. We have our own way of doing things, and none of it's better. Some of it might be better for you, and some of it might be better for somebody else. But in the end, we all have our own motivations for doing things, and see, that's just weird. That's weird. That the motivations are different for people. My motivation for pretty much all my online content is for people to be able to do it, to see somebody else do it, and to be able to do it themselves. I'm trying to empower people to make their own pottery, to express themselves through clay. And other people do things different, or for different reasons. Some people really, are grinding away, making the YouTube videos so that they, stay present, that, if they post once, 2, 3 times a week, that you can make a living off of YouTube videos. But that's not how I want to make my living. And it's weird. It's like I could, if I wanted to monetize my online content, I could be financially much more successful. The thing is, though, I have enough for me. I live frugally. I don't spend my money on stuff, so I don't need a lot of money. I don't need to go crazy. I'm not trying to buy a fancy car or, an expensive house or studio. I just want more people to be able to do it without having to go into debt or without having to pay for it. And Farine, is that the name? Like that kind of comment where I'm not answering as many questions as Jessica. I don't care. That I thought I answered every one that I saw, but I don't know. I don't want her brought up at all ever. If I never have to hear her or see anything that she does or have her mentioned, like I'm great. I'd be fine. So these end up being things that are like what do you want to call them? Well, they don't have a good name. They're Sniffer cups. So when they're used, smells that the fluid generate end up collecting in the piece, and then as you drink from it and you breathe through your nose, the stuff in it tastes more. Does that make sense? So there's an additional element to how we interact with our world. And we do smell things and we do taste things, but when it comes to like designing stuff, it's not utilized as much. There are some beverage glasses that are made so that you smell them like a brandy, a snifter, something like that. And this is that same kind of concept. And it was on accident that I made it the first time because I liked the way it looked. I wanted it to look like those old cans that you'd peel the thing and the top would come back, one of those. And in doing that, I made the first one, and I cut a little notch out so you can drink from it. And when I make a new design, I don't really go through and to sell them right away. I keep them for myself and I use them. And I was drinking iced tea out of one, and I'm going, this iced tea tastes different. And I make iced tea a lot, and I know how it tastes all the time. So when I go back to the cup, and I'm like, well, why does it taste different? And I stuck my nose, and it's like I can really smell the tea in there, which is really different. So then I started making them, with smaller volumes and everything, so that I went through that. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. But that's all I'm doing today. I'm out of balls. I'm out of boards. And I'm going to be doing a live stream tonight, so I don't need to clean up too much because it's not going to dry up. And that's not going to dry up in time. Yeah, it seemed synchronous. I mean, I'm watching it on the computer. I'm not watching it from the device. So it seemed all connected to me. If you're watching it and you're scrolling back through, then yeah, you might be missing when I'm answering the questions. Okay, bye guys. So yeah, I'll try to come back on Thursdays. Thursdays at noon or Reno. No, at a little afternoon. I don't know exactly. We'll see what it's like. Maybe two. Maybe two on Thursday. And I'll be doing the next part. So I'm going to try to save these so that they are, I'm going to pan over here. Save them so that they're ready to trim. So I can have them ready to trim on Thursday. And we'll just go right through the whole process of all the steps in finishing these. I think that'd be fun, right? Sure. Okay. Bye, guys. If I figure out how to turn it off.